Hello and welcome to the
About
Media Club.
time. What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing in their respective remote locations?
I'm good. I
Pretty
just
good.
drank this whole iced coffee, so I'm feeling great.
Holy
I'm
cow.
ready.
I don't think, that's not going to be speeding up the live stream at all.
It's gonna speed me up though.
Yeah, there you go. That's that's awesome. So, anyway, well, welcome to another edition of Media Club. I'm the owner and creative video strategist for Introduce Multimedia, Paul Schmidt, and we welcome you here. If you have any questions and or things that you want us to answer, we'll get to those at the bottom of the show. I guess that's the way that that's talked about. But anyway, but yeah, so we are members of Introduce Multimedia, the video storytelling agency based in Lansing, Michigan, that works with nonprofits and socially responsible small businesses to document why they do what they do and how they make positive impacts in their community. But I'm not the only one on this podcast. Let me lateral it over to the other folks that are going to be talking. Go ahead. Who's ever first?
Oh, I got it. Hi, I'm James. I am the creative livestream alchemist for Unodeuce, but that's not to say that all I do is live streams. For example, this week we don't have one. Woo! It's kind of been relaxing, honestly. And then Nick handed me a pile of edit projects, and now those are mostly done, so it's fine. But yeah, that's what I do. And then we go to Nick.
Yeah, so I'm Nick. I'm the creative video architect at Introduce. Yeah, so I make all the videos that aren't live streams, except for the ones that sometimes James edits. But yeah,
And Kat.
and Kat.
Yeah, Nick and Kat and James. All right. Yeah, Kat was just in here earlier this morning, finishing up, putting the finishing touches on one of the videos. So, and what video will
Nice.
that be? We got to stay tuned to our social media to find out what we'll be launching soon and what's done and all that other stuff. So, follow us on Instagram at Introduce Media. Obviously, also Introduce Multimedia on both Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn. So that's where we are. And if you can't find us, you're not looking. That's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, on to the next episode, on to the next thing, which is what we talk about, what we're working on. So cue it. So yeah, here's the segment in which we talk about what we're doing. So who
Yeah.
wants to go first in talking about what project that you're focusing on this week and talking a little bit about it.
I think if Nick goes first, it leads directly into mine. So go ahead, Nick.
Okay. Well, I was actually thinking about doing something else, so it may not lead into
Alright,
it.
I'll go first then. So next week, we have a live stream that I've been building this week because, there isn't one this week. It just works out like that sometimes. But the live stream next week is for Child and Family Charities, a very near and dear client to us. It is their annual breakfast fundraiser, and it's going to be a good time. I'm so excited because it's a new venue and one that I am absolutely ecstatic about. When I did my site survey, right, not only did they have the event planner for the place there to answer my questions, they also had the site technician on site. Any question I had was answered like perfectly, like, oh, it won't be a problem. It was great. Loved it. And it's going to be a good event, and hopefully we help them to raise a lot of money to help the children and families of Michigan.
And what's the venue?
The meeting spot. Meeting M the MTG spot is what they call it. MTG space.
The MTG space.
Is that
Yeah.
at the University Club?
No, it's how do I put this? It's by Jolly Dunkel, if that makes sense.
Oh, so
The
where is their
Greater
office?
Lansing Association of Realtors.
Yeah, it's in there. It's the second floor of
Nice.
that building.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So what is I mean, talk to me or actually the audience, because I pretty much know
You
what you're
know.
gonna say. About what this live stream is for. I mean, I know you mentioned a fundraising breakfast, but
Hmm.
what's all entailed in it?
So the fundraising breakfast for the live stream, anyway, is well, actually, a fundraising breakfast is a fundraising breakfast. They are raising funds for their nonprofit. In this case, I believe it's to help with the remodel of the McLaren building, right, Paul? No,
No,
no.
it's for, like you mentioned before. It's raising funds for the programs of child and family charities.
Gotcha. Yeah. So the programs, which we do a lot of videos for. And in this case, I also had to develop or edit rather a video that will be shown during the live stream, where they are thanking one of their most beneficial sponsors. I can't give away who it is because
No.
it's a secret.
Yep,
But
exactly.
if you tune into the event, which will be live on their Facebook page, then you'll see the video. And I believe Nick also made a video for this event, or is currently making a video for this event. He's nodding his head yes,
He's
everybody.
nodding his head.
Yes.
Good thing we have it visual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that segues into what you're going to be talking about, Nick. So what project are you working on? What's caught? What do you want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, just jumping off what James said, I am working on the video for that breakfast event. It's like a 7-minute video with 3 different client stories. But I did want what project I do want to talk about is the Todd Martin Youth Leadership. We filmed some of that this week. We're filming some tomorrow. And they're an organization here in Lansing that teaches tennis to kids, and they also do like tutoring and like leadership skills and mentoring and things like that. Um, it was founded by Todd Martin, who was like a pro in the 90s, I think. Um, and yeah, on Monday we filmed at Foster Community Center and got some interviews and B-roll with kids that use tutoring. So they do like virtual tutoring and in-person tutoring. They started doing virtual tutoring when the pandemic happened, and they've still continued to do that because even though the pandemic is over, technically, whatever, it's still like really convenient for people to have virtual tutoring. So we interviewed tutor, we interviewed a parent, and we interviewed 2 kids that use the tutoring. And yeah, this is like our 3rd time working with Todd Martin. They're always really great to work with, and yeah.
That's pretty cool. And this is just the start of what we are really doing for them this year, because they are moving locations, and so they that's part of the video story as well, as like, they're moving into a bigger facility that they can actually use for a lot of the stuff that they're doing. And so it's really cool to show off, what they have going on now, with their tutors and their tennis and such, and then also looking at, now they're building a space that's a little bit more permanent, especially coming out of the pandemic. So that's really cool. It's an interesting project. Like Nick said, we love working with Todd Martin. Actually, we love working with all of our clients. But Todd Martin is just one of those unique organizations that really understands its niche, is able to talk about what they do very clearly and what their aims and their targets are. And of course, the namesake Todd Martin, is a former professional tennis player. I mean, when I say professional tennis player, I'm not talking about somebody who was just like, attached to a country club and that's his paycheck. No, he was on the circuit, the professional. I watched him play at Wimbledon in summer when Wimbledon was. So yeah, so it's amazing to see, and he's such a nice guy, and so it's really cool to work with them. Anyway, cool. Anything else following up with all that? No.
No,
Nothing.
I ain't got nothing.
So Nick, is that you said the Child and Family Charities video for next week is 7 minutes? You have it at 7 minutes? You are muted, sir. It does not work for audio.
Yeah, I think it's like a little under 7, but yeah, it's like around 7.
Okay, because yesterday I
Yeah.
told him it'd be just over 5.
Okay. Well,
All right, whatever.
yeah.
Here's what it is. But that's cool. Anyway, well, that's a little bit about what we are focused on this week, which is a huge live stream event as well as starting this new project. We actually started the Todd Martin project in March or February, March. And so getting some stuff. But anyway, all right. But now it's time to talk about things that are catching our attention outside of these office walls. Cue it. So I think we have to change that graphic a little bit because it's more than what we're watching. We're also playing. We're also reading in
Yeah,
this segment.
I think
And
only one
so,
thing this week is a watch.
what's that?
I think only one thing this week is something we watch.
I know. Well, last week was too, because it was a game and a audio drama. So, anyhow, moving right along. Who wants to go first with what has caught their attention media wise?
I can go first. Boom. I have been reading this book called Time Machines Repaired While You Wait. It is by K.A. Bedford. It is one of their only novels that have been published. One of the others being the sequel to this that I don't know if I'm going to read.
You got to finish this one.
Exactly, and I already got 2 more books on my to read list from the library. They're sitting right over there. But I have been slowly reading this very nice sci-fi book from 2008. It follows the story of Spider, whose last name is Webb. His real name is Aloysius, but everybody calls him Spider. Who repairs time machines for a living until he discovers a corpse inside one of the machines he is fixing, which leads the Department of Time and Space to take over the situation. Honestly, this book's pretty humorous. Example, they have an 8-day turnaround time on all time machine repairs. However, every time machine is a time machine. So once they fix it, let me start over. They pick up the time machine from the client's home because it lives in garages. They take it to their workshop. They work on it for 8 days, fix it, use it to travel back in time 8 days, take off, go back to the client's house, and then it's like no time at all has passed for the client. Like 10 minutes after they drive away, it's back and fixed. But I'm enjoying it. I mean, there's some weird offbeat humor because it's supposed to be set in the future. His boss's name is literally Dickhead. Like that is the character's name.
Richard Head.
No, Dickhead. Like he's training the new receptionist and she says, "Why are you calling our boss that?" And he goes, "That's literally his name." And like there's a nameplate that just says it's very weird, very dry humor, but I am very much enjoying it. It's very an immature humor almost, but honestly, with how the world is right now, I'll take it. Give me something funny and nonsensical to escape to, like a time machine repair shop. But where I'm at now, I'm about 10 chapters in. They found the dead body. And then I found out a whole lot of backstory about Spider, that he was like this deep undercover cop in the past who was like a by the book detective and ended up getting a superintendent, or not superintendent, but like a supervisor, one of the head cops, arrested on a sting operation because they were doing unsanctioned time machine travel and then doing bad things in the past. But it's good. Then he got thrown off the force because he ratted on a cop. But it's fine. It's a good book, and I'm enjoying it. There's a lot going on in it, honestly. Because he ended up divorcing his wife, who he's still in love with, to keep her safe from retaliation from the cops. There's that playing into it. He keeps a diary, or tried to, because he, again, time travels all the time for his job. And he'll go back into it and realize that he hasn't written this yet, but it's like at the start of the diary. It's just a lot of mystery, a lot of time shenanigans, and I'm waiting for a paradox, and I'm really, really wondering who the dead body is. So when I find out, I'll have to give you guys an update, because I don't
Sounds
know yet.
sounds good, and I'm so glad that the blue wall of silence is full effect in the future here. That's disconcerting.
The what?
The blue wall of silence.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's you know, it's like the whole you know the cops don't rat on each other type.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This book was written in 2008.
wow.
But I don't know if it ever gives a time when it takes place. It's just time machines are a thing. That's pretty
Well,
much how it
seeing as we
starts.
don't have time machines at this point in time,
True.
I'm assuming it's the future, but
That's
who
fair.
knows? I mean,
Yeah.
who knows? And so, how does okay? So the question is also I'd like to know this detail is if they use the time machine they fixed to go back in time to where they picked it up. How do they get back? Do they have like a different time machine? How do
No,
they
so the time machines don't actually travel through space, only time. That's actually a huge plot point so far, is that people want to go back to
Oh.
watch the Titanic sink, but then the whole book takes place in the middle of what was, when the Titanic was happening, desert Australia. So it's like a mega city takes over and terraforms it and all that. But so then there's a bunch of dead people with broken time machines just strewn about the desert in the past because they're like, oh, I'll just walk to the next city, not knowing how far the next city is in the middle of the outback.
Okay.
Nice.
And like he talks about how it used to baffle the cops of those times, like just where did this person come from?
I can see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
How
good.
did you How'd you find the book, James?
I literally was at the library and I was walking in the sci-fi section and I saw this spine that says "Time machines repaired while you wait," and I was like, "Bet."
So you judge the book by its cover.
By the spine,
Oh,
technically by the spine.
oh,
But then the cover. I mean, look at the cover. You can see the cover. It's like, okay, this is some weird goggles. I'm into it.
cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nick, you want to go next?
Yeah. So I'm talking about Deathloop, which is a video game from Arcane Studios. They have made other games in the past that I've liked a lot, like the Dishonored series, Prey, and their style of games are called immersive sims. So like, essentially, they give you like usually they're first person, and you're like placed in like a level or an environment, and everything kind of works like like there's like a physical tactileness to everything. Everything's kind of tied together, a little like Metroidvania style. Like so like you'll need like an item to unlock a door, and then that door leads to another area, and then but everything is very like grounded, and like they just give you a bunch of tools, and there's kind of like a sandbox to play in a little bit. But Deathloop is their newest game. It came out last year. Playing it on PS5. This one is cool because it takes like a lot of roguelike elements into it. It's honestly a little like less roguelike than I kind of thought it would be. It's so it takes like the roguelike elements, which is essentially games where you die over and over, and dying is part of it. And like so like you'll learn a little bit every time you die, and then eventually you'll progress. But with this, it's still pretty narrative and like single focused. They give you a little bit of freedom, and like so you're this guy named Cole, and you wake up on this island area called what's it called again? Black Reef, and um, there are these 9 different visionaries. So you're basically tasked to kill all 9 visionaries, um, and you can kind of choose who you want to take down in what order. And um, yeah, so sorry, I've lost my train of thought for a sec. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of where the freedom comes in, is like choosing like who you want to take down, when you want to take them down. And there's also this character named Juliana who's kind of guiding you through like what's happening and like where you should go. But she's also like kind of like an antagonist in the game, but kind of not. But your relationship to her is really interesting. And then all the different visionaries that you're trying to take down are really like wacky and fun. And like each visionary has like their own like level or area. So like one that I played is like a guy who's a game designer, and there's like an area that you go through that's like kind of like feels like a haunted house, kind of sci-fi haunted house area, and like you're going through that. And so that's basically it. Fun game. I'm playing it on PS5. So yeah, I'm trying to catch up on PS5 games because I got one recently. And yeah, Deathloop. I know James has played this a little bit too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Question for you.
Yeah.
How is the so people can take control of Juliana, right? And like invade your world and try to kill you and
Yeah.
reset your loop. How is the connectivity of that on PS5? Cuz on PC, and this was technically before I got my internet fixed, but still it was rough. Is it rough on
Yeah.
PS5 or is it smooth?
I honestly haven't been invaded yet, aside from like the tutorial invasion. So I can't
Okay.
really speak to that. I want to say, I mean, it's probably better now, because I mean, when did you say you played it last?
Um Probably like 6 months ago,
Okay, so I'm guessing it's better now, but
hopefully.
but that mechanic that James mentioned is pretty cool. So other players can use Juliana and invade your world, and then it essentially turns into like a one-on-one kind of deathmatch style thing.
Yeah. Which when I did play, I played as Juliana quite a bit in that one weekend I was playing because it's fun to set traps and like people, so people will learn the levels, right? Because it's a looping game. So when they learn the levels and they know where everything is, it's fun to just like set little traps that alert entire groups of enemies. So then it turns from a one-on-one into a one versus like 30.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and while overall I do really like the game, there are like certain things that like I don't love about it. At least so far, I'm only like probably like 10 hours in, but I feel like the AI is pretty bad in general, or just not like so like the enemies in the game like aren't really hard to kill, but like the fun of the game isn't really like the combat. It's more just like exploring the environment and like learning more about the world and stuff like that. Um, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Paul, what are you talking about this week?
I'm going to be talking about They Call Me Magic. It's a 4-part docu-series on Apple TV, Apple Plus TV, Apple TV Plus. And I must say this was tremendously well done. I really enjoyed the exploration into magic, and what I did like was they labeled each one of the 4 episodes a nickname that he had, or a name that he is associated with, and so it like basically broke up his life from how he started when he got to the Lakers, and then also, you know, then obviously, you know, about his HIV diagnosis, playing in the Olympics, and then finally his life after basketball. It was really well done. Well, it encompassed his life and told that story really well. And they didn't pull any punches. They didn't sugarcoat things. But he was just he's just an amazing character. And the fact that he he's from our area is just tremendous. And just to see a lot of that correlation, a lot of that, where he's from and who he is as a human being. And yeah, and they had a ton of different interviews with a lot of folks, and a lot of folks that I didn't expect to hear from, because he's just had this extraordinary life in which he just tried to be a winner, and just tried to do things the way he knew how. And that was just, it was just a well done show. I highly recommend watching it. It's easy to watch. He's just an engaging personality first and foremost, but just the flow and the way that the story was told chronologically, and how each piece just really highlighted that segment of his life, and what that whole is, what the previous episode really leans into, to make it a continuous thing. But at the same time, each episode is its own encompassing story. So you don't necessarily have to watch the others to watch one, and you won't be out of touch or out of place if you watch one in the middle versus watching it from the very beginning. I thought that was really key in the storytelling, because each one of those chapters is a standalone aspect of his life in which he had a different conflict that really they took hold of. And I love the storytelling on that. So anyway, that's what we talked, or that's what I wanted to focus on this week. They Call Me Magic, which like I said, highly recommend. So if you have Apple TV Plus, sit down, spend 4 hours and watch that. So there you go. But now we're on to our last and final segment, in which we have an interesting thing to talk about really quick. So let's go to that question and answer. Now, this question and answer period, I got to be really quick because we're running low on time here. Nick and his Deathloop took all the time in the world. Just kidding. But
Deathloop's really good, though.
But this question actually stems from a couple of inquiries that we've gotten through our email and from our website. And basically the question is, what are some things that we as a company don't do? There are 3 styles of videos that we won't do because it's just not part of our mission or our thing. So those 3 things really are: number 1, weddings. We do not do weddings. However, someone on our team does know a thing or two about weddings because his wife's company does weddings. Number 3, we don't do event style videos, such as for birthdays or anything like that. Nothing like really super personal. We don't do videos in that regard either. We will refer those out to folks that like to do those types of stuff. Not that we don't like, it's just about making sure that it fits our mission. And lastly, political videos. That is something that, once again, we just find ourselves it just doesn't fit our mission in the long run. We've done some things, but nothing that's really super political, or we've done it in the past and it just didn't work out. And if someone asks, what about the Ingham County Clerk? If you watch any of those videos that we do for the Ingham County Clerk, those are basically all informational style videos. They are about things that you need to pay attention to coming from the clerk's office, or services that they offer that you might not have known that they offer.
Yes,
so
regardless of who the clerk is.
Yeah, exactly. So it's about the clerk's office, the informational stuff for that. So those are some things that have popped up in the last couple of weeks of questions of if we do this or if we don't do that. So, and that also includes the editing portion. So if someone asks us, oh, can you edit these? Nope, we will not do those either. And so we refer those out because the person who shoots those things should be the ones that you want to have them edit to. So there you go. There you have it. And we also know folks that do all of these styles of videos. So if it's not a good fit for us, then we will help find the right video company for you to handle these styles. So, and that is our show for today. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Media Club. We really appreciate you stopping by. And if you have any questions that you'd like us to answer, send an email to info@introduce.com with the subject header Media Club. If you happen to miss any of these, you can catch the replay on our YouTube channel or our website at introduce.com. And also, as always, you can catch us on all the social media and our website. Drop us a line. But until next week, watch something cool, tune into what we do, and we look forward to seeing you out there.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
See you next time.